Hey guys, this is Charles with OCD Bravery. I want to ask you a question. Would you like to stop suffering from OCD? Would you like to move on with your life and not suffer with those unwanted, intrusive thoughts? I'm going to give you the answer. And I know that you might be skeptical. You might not believe me. You don't really know me, so I can understand your skepticism. And you've probably read online that OCD cannot be cured and that you're probably just going to suffer for the rest of your life. I know what that suffering's like. I've had OCD for 24 years, and I've only recently been provided lasting, true relief through exposure and response prevention, through therapy with a trained therapist. Well, back to my question, would you like to experience relief? Would you like to be free from OCD? Well, how you answer this next question is going to greatly depend on if you can become unstuck, if you'd like to be free. Are you willing to accept uncertainty? Are you willing to accept the greatest fear, whatever you're resisting, whatever you're struggling with right now? Are you willing to accept the possibility of that fear being true or coming true? You see, you're stuck with OCD because you've experienced an unwanted, intrusive thought, feeling, or urge, or image. And you've been ruminating, you've been resisting, you've been arguing, you've been fighting with that thought for days, weeks, months, years, decades. I know what it's like to suffer with OCD for decades, to constantly be in your head from the moment you wake up until the time you lay your head down on the bed and finally fall asleep. I know what that's like. It's debilitating. It doesn't matter what your theme is. It doesn't matter what your feared thought is. It doesn't matter what the image or urge was. It does not matter. The only way to beat OCD is to accept uncertainty. For example, I'm in my truck right now. It's really cold outside. Let's just say while I was driving this afternoon, I had the thought, what if I just hit somebody with my truck? What if I hit them and now they're on the side of the road and they're bleeding out? It's really cold outside. They're probably not going to make it very long. I have that thought. It's a distressing thought. It's a thought that brings me great distress. I can feel it in my body. My body floods with anxiety. Cortisol is racing through my veins. The body's fight and flight response has been activated. And all of those feelings seem to provide validity to the thought. I wouldn't feel this way if this thought weren't true, right? And so you begin to base the genuineness of the thought on what you're experiencing bodily. If you have OCD, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so what do? You turn the truck around. You check. You double check. If I'm really suffering, I might get out of my truck. I might look underneath my truck. I might look in the ditch. And it's -0 temperatures right now. I'm going to put myself out there and do all of these things in order to prove to myself, in order to prove to that thought that it's false, that it's not true. And finally, at some point, I might get some form of relief. It might be a minute's worth of relief. It might be 10 minutes worth of relief. And then the thought will come again the next time I drive. Or it'll come up again when I'm laying in bed at night. Am I really sure that I didn't check underneath my truck? Am I really sure I didn't check the ditch good enough? Here's how you beat OCD. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible I hit somebody with my truck. It's possible that somebody is now lying in the ditch somewhere, dying because I'm neglecting them. I don't think that's true. I don't think I did, but it's possible. I could have done it. I know that I cannot gain absolute certainty. And that's what OCD wants. It wants you to give it absolute certainty. It's holding you hostage until you can provide it with real, true, undeniable, undisputable proof. And then once you provide it that proof, guess what it's going to do? It's going to ask another question, but are you sure? Are you really sure? Your theme might even, your theme or your question, your thought might even morph into something else. Acceptance is the cure to OCD, not resistance. Whether you're resisting physically by engaging in physical, worldly compulsions, checking, tapping, counting, avoiding, touching, those sorts of things, or whether it's mental, researching, analyzing, testing, checking, Googling, Redditing, all of those things, seeking the answers in order to prove to your OCD that you're not this or that, or you haven't done that. All of those things prove to your brain that the thought is a threat. And so you're going to feel distressed more and more all of the time, because you're basically validating to your brain, yeah, that thought was dangerous and I need to have it more. And so your brain's like a puppy. It's going to be like, okay, I'm going to send it to you all the time to protect you. Like any organ, that's what its job is to do. So the only way to get past OCD is to go through OCD. You must face your fear in order for your fear to disappear. If you're afraid of touching a doorknob because you might get an illness, you might catch AIDS, you know what you need to do? Go touch all the doorknobs in the world and say to yourself, it's possible that I might get AIDS, but I'm not going to allow this fear to hold me hostage until I give it absolute certainty. Yeah, I know it's possible. It might be minutely possible in some worlds, in some universe, that this might come true. But until then, I'm going to continue to live my life. So you accept the thought, you accept the possibility of that thought, and then you drop it. You move on. You see, when you resist a thought, you can't drop it, because there's always another what if. There's always another mutation with OCD. So acceptance isn't resignation. It's not believing that the thought is true or that it's going to come true. Acceptance is merely accepting the possibility that it might be true or that it might come true. Some of you, I remember telling my therapist this, I don't want to live in a world where this could possibly be true. And my therapist told me, that's what keeps you stuck. And brother or sister, fellow OCD sufferer, that's what's keeping you stuck. You must be willing to live in a world with the possibility of your feared thought existing. It's possible I may have killed somebody with my truck. It's possible I might get AIDS by touching a doorknob. It's possible that I don't truly love my spouse. It's possible that I might be a homosexual. I don't think any of these things are true, and yet I'm not going to say that it's absolutely impossible for them not to be true. I can't be absolutely certain, and I can't give OCD the answer that it's looking for. The only way past OCD is through OCD. You must face your fears in order for them to disappear. The longer you do this, the stronger you'll get, the more insight you'll get, the more you'll realize that that unwanted intrusive thought, feeling, or urge, or image, those are just false fears. The more you face them, the smaller they'll get. You might even start to enjoy them, believe it or not. It's possible. Anyways, I hope this helps somebody. Take care. God bless.